Hey everyone, it's Lisa from Primitive Gatherings, and today we are going to go over getting started on our cruise trip projects for Hawaii. Now, I'm hoping this will be good even long after we come back from Hawaii and these are available for public. But right now, these are for my students in my class to be viewing this. So let's get started. All right, you got your kit in the mail. Here's your pattern, here's your pre-cut pennies, and then you should have your big piece of background for your project. Now here is the American Pennies table mat. This is the finished product. This is what we're going to be doing, and I am going to give you tips and tricks to get this ready to bring along to do your stitching on the ship. But if you're confident and know what to do, I don't care if you start stitching early. So let's get started. All right, the first thing is I'm going to lay out my background, and I want you to look at your pattern because your mat is actually wider than it is tall. So this part of your hexagon is wide. So I want you to make sure that your widest part of your background is facing that direction. All right, so if you could measure this, looks like this is my wide, so I'm going to lay this just out like this. I don't trust that, I think it's this way. I'm going to just lay that, and I'm working on my wool mat. All right, just like that. Now, let's find the center. That's always a good thing. So here's my center line. And now I'm going to fold it again. Here is my center. Now, do you have to be exactly perfect? No, but close enough. So I'm just going to like put a little steam mark in there. Both ways. So I know where that is. And maybe I don't have to do any lines. I just have to find out where that center is, and hopefully I'll be able to see it when I open it up. There it is. See how I did that? Hopefully the light will capture that little indent there. All right, so here's our pattern, and it tells us how many pennies that we need for each round. And I want you to be aware of the fact that we gave you 2 extra pennies for every one that we cut, just in case, like just in case you lose one. We all do. We all lose them sometimes, or the dog eats one, right? Okay, so now I'm going to find the center right there, and then I'm going to start with the natural pennies, because that is what is in the center. So I'm going to pull out, these are my natural ones, and I'm going to keep them wool side up, and you'll see why in a minute. Pull those out, and then we're going to be doing some red on those, so I'll dump those out as well. And then I need one gray one here for that center one. Okay. So this will give me a good start here. You're going to want to have one of these Martelli tweezers. We just got a bunch of them in to put into your orders. Now, this isn't just a normal tweezer. It's a pinpoint tweezer. All you have to do is touch your wool and it picks up. You don't have to grab it, you just can touch it. So to me, that's way easier than picking these all up and trying to peel the paper off of each one. So when you have this tweezers that you can just grab and peel paper off. Now we're peeling paper off of the backs of the pennies. This is fusible web that we put on your pennies ahead of time before we cut them out. This is Heat and Bond Featherlight. That is the fusible I highly recommend nowadays. It's not super stiff in your wool. It's super light, easy to stitch through, and the quilters can quilt through it if you need that to happen. Like if you're using this fusible web and you're going to have your project quilted, the needles will be able to go through this fusible web without skipping stitches. That's a big thing in machine quilting. All right, so I am just going to start laying out and you're going to watch. And then when we get to a time when it's really repetitive, we're just going to fast forward through this. Okay, so center right there, and then it's surrounded by 6 other pennies. So let's just check to make sure that I've got mine going the right way. So I'm going to start with this center one, do another light one, then a blue one, then another light one, 1, 2, blue, light, 3 blues, 1, 2, 3, and then a gray. And there you go. I have about 2 inches left. That's perfect. So I'm just going to kind of leave that there and then just start rebuilding my center. So 1 in the middle, and then do my 6 around. Gonna have a little garbage here for our papers. There we go. There is my center, and then the centers have the little small 7/8 red on them. Now I am using the Martelli tweezers here, and I bet you're amazed at how well it works. Center one. So there is the start of my mat. Slow those in the middle. And you don't want them to overlap, you want them to touch. And as long as I'm doing that, I'm going to put this out again, all on my center line here. Peeled some of those off already. There. Have almost a little, it looks like I'm a little bit that way, but plenty to keep going ahead. So here's my center, and I'm going to fuse that down. Now with wool, you want lots of steam, always keeping your iron moving. You do not want to hold your iron in one spot too long because these are light wools and you could potentially scorch those wools. So I'm going to move my pattern up there so I can see it. Next round is blue. Dump some more blues out here. You want to fit those right in so they touch. That one had one already off. Now if you're doing this kit and it wasn't pre-cut for you, maybe you wanted to save some money and pre-cut your own, we did put the sizes on the pattern there for you, and you're just going to make sure you get a really good circle template and trace those circles onto your fusible web. Because I don't like using glue and pins with wool. So we had a little trial run, and I might have been pulling some of these papers off some of these backs just to make it a little faster for us here. All right, look at how nice that looks. Make sure nothing's overlapping with your tweezers. And now I can fuse this round down. There we go. Okay, what is next? A big round of light again. Place all of your pennies wool side up to ease in grabbing them. Now this wool has a little bit of mottle to it. It's not completely cream. There is a little gray in here. So don't think that that's wrong. That's the nature of the wool. You want it to have some character, not just flat white wool. Because really there is no such thing as white wool. Wool is natural in color. You do not bleach wool. That would not be a good thing. All right, so I'm looking at my pattern now. Now, after I go all the way around once, then there's like these little pyramids of 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, oh no, we go like that. 3, 2. See how fun this is? I love doing this. And then 1. There you go. So I'm going to completely do this side, and then I'll flip my mat around because we all don't have these big spaces to work in. And the best thing about penny mats is they're so forgiving. So don't worry about too much. All right, time for the gray to come out. Pick a stack. Wool side up. Well, we might as well grab some of these too because that's what's going on those. Now I'm going to lay those all around the outer perimeter. So if your wool is hard to remove off this fusible web, just go back and reheat it with the iron. It really has to be adhered nicely down, lots of heat, not steam, but heat. All right, now I think I did a pretty good job of lining things up, but I'm gonna tell you right now, when you're stitching, you're gonna notice that some of them aren't exactly perfect in the center. I don't worry about that. I just try to do the best I can, but I will show you, if you get one down that's a little wonky, how to peel it up. So I kind of do a little temporary all over, and then I go back and really pay attention. Now let's say one of them shifted a little bit. So you'd heat it up and then you'd be able to pick it right off like that and then move it over probably a little smidge and then fuse it back down. All right, time to turn the whole mat. Okay, time to work on the second half. Ooh, look, I got one sticking up there. Let's get him down. All right. Again, following my pattern or looking all the way around. I'm surrounded by cream again. And the most important thing, again, I hope you watch this video all the way through before you start doing it, but just make sure that that center one is on the widest part of your wool. That is the trick, and it all goes in a line because you could actually turn that a little bit. Ask me how I know. Oh yeah. One thing nice about a pre-cut kit is that all these pennies are cut the same, so everything fits really nice. You don't have to fudge any. Because if you hand cut them, you might be fudging a little more. But that's how it's done. Before we had die cutting. I just got enough there on that edge, so I must not have got directly in that middle. But it's all gonna work out. All right. There is our fused down mat, and now we are ready for stitching, and that will be part 2.